What's up, everybody? Rob Nakamura. I'm here with the High Chief, Zac Pauga. Together, we're fully hydrated, and we're going to get into something we like to do, doing some Polynesians making predictions, looking forward to the upcoming big event, UFC 322, with some world championships on the line. We have Jack Della Maddalena going against Islam Makhachev, and the co-main event for the women's flyweight, Valentina Shevchenko versus Weili Zhang. So, couple of titles on the line, big event. We don't tell each other our picks beforehand. We find out on the spot. Once again, folks, drop your comments. Let us know what you're thinking, what's your picks and what's your favorites. And we only do the main card, and then we'll drop some banger alerts for you to not be making snacks during. Let's start with the first fight on the main card. Beneil Dariush going against Benoit Saint Denis. And I just want to shout out, before I even go any further, shout out Beneil. Very cool dude. Very, very cool dude. And the odds makers have Saint Denis as the favorite, negative 190, plus 155, the underdog in Dariush. What you got, Mr. Pauga?
First thing I just want to say is that this card is awesome. Like, I haven't seen a lot of hype, but top to bottom prelims, this is an amazing card. And this fight is amazing too. These ones are so hard to pick. If you actually bet money on fights, don't use my advice. Oh, don't use my advice. But I am going with the underdog here. I'm going with the Beneil Dariush. This is a tough fight, and both these guys are killers. Both these guys are badasses. Beneil's coming off a win. He's also a cool dude. He's a guy that I know, and so I'm not going to say we're like close friends or anything, but he's a good dude. I know I'm going with Beneil here.
Well, that's what's up. And I've had the pleasure of interviewing him. I actually got to do a public Q&A with him, and he's really good friends with a really good friend of mine. Not quite my really good friend, but I'll take that association. And yeah, like I said, just like Zach said, Beneil's a cool dude. Like, he really just
Really
is.
cool dude.
And so, also, if you think I was picking a French dude against an American, you have not watched a single episode. So I'm glad you're here now and you get to know the vibe. Let's go, Beneil. That's what's going down. All right. The next one, Leon Edwards versus Carlos Prates. The odds makers have Edwards as the underdog, plus 175, negative 210, and Prates. What you got, dude?
Dude, this one, like I said, this card is awesome. And this is a hard one to do. I feel like everyone's just sleeping on Leon just because he had two hard fights in a row against crazy grapplers, right? And everyone's sleeping on him. But Prates isn't a grappler. And Leon is a great striker, and he can grapple too. I'm going with Leon on this. I think it's wild that, did you say the odds? What were the odds?
Plus 175 Edwards, negative 210 for Prates.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, like, I can't. Those odds are crazy to me. I know I just said don't make your bets based on me, but this is the dog I like in this one for your bets. Like, this is Leon, former champion. Good. Prates has been on a run, has been on tear. He just ran into his first bump against
Gary.
Yeah, against Gary. But he's still a young fighter, right? And this is a big step up for him. After his first loss, I'm going Leon.
Respect to that. And I want to further your point on some intelligent analysis that Ian Machado Gary is the highest level that Prates has fought, name established wise, and he lost respectfully. Leon, former world champ, fought an endless list of names of guys you know of to be badass. That's not going to stop me from blindly picking against the UK. I said it last week. I got to stick to it. Even though, caveat, I think the most intelligent pick is Leon. I think scientifically he is the better fighter, but I'm not letting that get in my way. I'm picking the chain smoking, alcohol drinking, absolutely zero ground game of Carlos Prates, because the UK absolutely sucks. All right. Next one on the card, Sean Brady versus Michael Morales. Negative 150 for Brady, plus 125 for Morales.
So I think this is pretty easy. Sean Brady win. I didn't know that he was going to be the favorite, but I guess they agree with me. But we're talking about a big step up for Prates. This is a huge step up for Morales. And Brady, more or less, should be waiting for a belt, right? And he's choosing to keep fighting. This is a massive step up. And anytime it's striker versus grappler, you always are like wondering how the striker is going to fare. Well, especially when the striker is a super young fighter, right? Super young fighter, hasn't really been tested. Now you're going up against probably the best grappler in the division. I think this is an easy Brady win. Brady finish.
Brady finish. That's a strong call. Now, I just want to back you up a little bit, as in the favor is not that big. Negative 150 is a mild favorite. There's a pretty close race as far as the odds are concerned. It is very tempting for me to go with the hot, shiny new toy who's undefeated, who smoked Gilbert last time out, smoked Neil Magny, who very seldomly gets smoked. But Mr. Brady, like, I don't often talk about body types and stuff, but when you have a grappler and you look at Sean Brady's body, no diddy, his back is like a Ninja Turtle shell. Like, he has so much musculature on his back. Could you imagine trying to grapple that? You are totally, totally screwed. And there's a part of me that wants to blindly go with Morales. I really do, but I'm gonna just go with the what you just said, dude. Grappler versus striker. History has shown since November 12th, 1993, grappling beats striking majority of the time. So my pick is with Mr. Brady. All right. For once again, the ladies flyweight championship of the world, Valentina Shevchenko, Weili Zhang. The odds makers have it negative 130 for the champion, plus 110 in the challenger of Zhang. And my dude, what's on your mind?
I like Zhang. I think it's a tall task. This is a hard fight, right? And Valentina is like potential GOAT status of that weight class. Maybe that's not even like arguable, but she hasn't looked fantastic, right? She fought Alexa. She spent 2 years fighting Alexa Grasso, right? Looked got finished once, had a draw, won a decision through wrestling. She just went on Fira. Like, she hasn't been killer. She hasn't been looking crazy. And Zhang, the complete opposite, just a complete bulldozer, a weight class down. Right? So now she's moving up. She's going to be fully hydrated. I hate bringing this up, right? But it's not like women have one-hit KO power. That's what you worry about moving up in weight class. If you were going from 170 to 185, right, you would be worried about fighting big hitters. That's not something that happens at 125-pound female weight class. So I think Zhang, I'm going with Zhang on this
one. Good call. And yeah, first part, it's not really up for discussion. Count the rubies on her belt. She's defended enough times. She is the GOAT of the weight class. She's the champ. I have been a longtime fan of both of these ladies. This is one of those fights that, like, I'm happy that it's happening, but I'm also very sad that it's happening because one of them has to lose. I'm going to say this. All right, I've looked at this fight for a while, trying to use none of my goofball stuff, being real analytical as possible. And you know what, bro? I just land on the goofiest thing that's a tiebreaker for me. So here's the reason why I'm going with Zhang, folks. One of these two ladies lift Shaquille O'Neal straight up off the ground like she was lifting a baby. The other one, I haven't seen it. I don't know if she could, but I doubt it. And that's Zhang. Zhang lifted up Shaq dead ass like she was lifting up another person that was not Shaq. If you don't think that's impressive, you try to lift up Shaq. You can't do it. So that's it. I don't think she has a strength problem. And that is what we always talk about. If you're going up a weight class, will you have the strength to carry over to that? That's my example. Does it translate? We won't know until these ladies fight, but there you go.
I want to say
That's it.
I want to say one thing. I want to give a pre-fight pump to Zhang. Is Wei Li her first name? I always get confused with her. Wei Li is her
Yes.
first name. Okay. I want to give a pre-fight pump to Wei Li. This, if you want 2 belts, this is how you do it. You clean out your division. You don't just win it and then jump up. You clean out your division. There's no other 115-pound girls for her to fight. You clean them out. Then you give the belt up. You pass the belt on. You say, I'm done with this. I'm going to go take the next one. This is how it's done. So big pre-fight pump to Wei Li.
I couldn't agree more, dude. That is solid call out. All right, here we are. Main event of the evening, starring one half of a guy who didn't really do what Zach said about the belt.
Yeah.
But here we go. Nice preemptive strike. Jack Della Maddalena versus Islam Makhachev. Both guys really awesome, incredible skill sets. The champion in Della Maddalena, plus 210. The champion, underdog, 210. The challenger, previous lower division champion at lightweight, now going up to welterweight, negative 250 for the only one loss of Makhachev. And there we go. That is what we have on the table, my friend.
I keep looking at this fight like the UFC and Khabib, and everyone wants you to think that Islam has a chance. Like everyone is trying to sell you on the killer that Islam is, but I just don't see it. I just don't see how he's gonna beat Jack, and especially like the way Jack just fought Bilal. It's not like Bilal was ragdolling Jack and he got a lucky kick. Bilal could not hold him down. And Bilal is a fantastic welterweight grappler. I don't see how a lightweight grappler is going to hold Jack down and submit Jack. Islam has had this weird title run, kind of, you were just kind of referencing it, so where it's like he's just fought smaller guys and really just short notices and hasn't really done anything after being laid out as being the greatest, right? Being the next Khabib's replacement, all this.
Thank you.
And he just hasn't done anything. So I can respect that he's going up and he's going to try and, make his stamp, but I don't see how he beats Jack. Honestly, I don't.
That's all of that is super fair. I'm going to small tangent on that just for a second. Yes. Everybody's like, oh, most title defenses at lightweight. Yeah. 2 of them was against a featherweight. One of them was against the 8th or 9th ranked guy because of a short notice.
Yeah.
So you have one.
Before,
yeah. Like you have one true defense, whatever's record books. You can have it. But on the other hand, I like this part of Makhachev's story because this is finally the time for him to maybe distance or separate himself from the Khabib storybook. He's literally been just replacing the Khabib storybook, and this is his time to be his own man, to do something fresh and do and different. But with that said, back to the Jack Della Maddalena side of it, the JDM side of it. Dude, he didn't just not get wrestle fucked by Bilal, who wrestle fucks everybody. He also gave him lumps. Like Bilal looked like he got jumped by like a couple dudes at once. His face was mangled. So this is very interesting. And maybe I'm being silly, and maybe there's a part of me that is just so tired of the Nurmagomedov cloud of invincibility that comes with the name and the heritage in the gym. It's nothing to do with Dagestan as a whole, just them. I'm supporting Australia on this one. Let's go. And still, that's my pick, JDM. That's what I'm going with. All right, we go to some banger alerts, something on the card that is worth your attention. And just to point out, just to toot our own fully hydrated horns here, last week we gave you 2 bangers and they were great. They were fights that you definitely shouldn't have missed. Zach's one was great. My fight was great. So maybe our picks aren't that great, but we do know bangers. We do know bangers when we see them. So what you got, my dude?
So you could close your eyes. Like, don't miss these prelims. I don't know if anyone who misses the prelims and just turns in for the pay-per-view, like people usually do the reverse. They just watch the prelims and don't pay for the pay-per-view. But like, you could close your eyes and pick any of these prelims, and they're going to be great fights. I'm going to specifically call out Aaron Branchfield and Tracy Cortez, because this is like a title eliminator, right? Like, it's the only female fight, the prelims here. But this is, if you care about like storyline, right? These are who's going to fight for the belt next, between these two. So it's part of the piece of the storyline that you can be a part of.
Like that, especially when there's maybe not necessarily unspoken, but like real consequence. There's like a prize. There's a prize besides the money. Like you talked about, like fighters have more reasons to get excited and pumped for a fight. To know that this has something behind it is a great reason to go. Good call out. I am going to go with a young man who's been making lots of great impressions on so many different levels. I had the privilege of interviewing him right when he got signed to the UFC after his Contender Series fight. Malcolm Wellmaker versus Cody Hayden. Both these young guns, they literally embody that name, young guns. Like, there's going to be action. I suspect someone's going to get knocked out. And if you don't know Malcolm Wellmaker, this is your chance. The dude is everything you'd hope for a young athlete. He was working hard, doing like welding and stuff. Very humble, great energy, well-spoken, and knocks people out at 135 pounds. Say that again. Knocking people out at 135 pounds. That's all the qualities, in my opinion, that I look for good fights. But yeah, I back you up, dude. You could if you had all the fights in a circle, you just close your eyes, spun around in a circle, there's like no bad fights. I also kind of want to honorable mention the Chepe Mariscal and Pat Sabatini fight.
So that was going to be my second early prelims. So Chepe's my homie, but he's also like must-watch TV. He's a great fighter. He's a great fighter. But this is also a rematch. He fought Pat Sabatini on the regional scene. This is a regional scene rematch. Tons of crazy stuff going behind it. But no, you're 100% great choice.
That one just was screaming. I felt like I was doing a disservice to the listeners and ourselves if we didn't mention that one. All right. Well, folks, thank you for listening. You've gone the distance with us. It's been a good time. We'll see you next time. But in the meantime, stay fully hydrated. All right.